I'm Alex Coyle, and this is Organization, the Path to Fortune. I will be presenting my idea of an automated vehicle and inventory tracking system for L&D safety marking. Our agenda today will go as follows. We'll go over the need. This is the ramifications of our current system. We'll go over the project description, how we're going to implement the new system. We'll go over the budget. We'll conclude, and we'll have some questions afterwards. So our first ramification is, in the current system, our product is unaccounted for. Because we do not have an electronic system that tracks every piece of inventory we have, a lot of our product can go missing or lost or even taken without us knowing. Flexus.com, they're a specialist in inventory management. They say that 63% of the time inventory is inaccurate in a business. 1/3 of businesses will miss a deadline because they have sold an item out that wasn't in stock. This means that we could prepare for a job and have a job deadline when we wouldn't even be able to have the stock because it's not in our warehouse. This creates a whole lot of issues, and we will miss a lot of deadlines. Our next ramification is actually overstocking. Overstocking is purchasing too much product. And especially in our business, this is a huge issue because a lot of the inventory we have, it's only good for a certain amount of time. Left in the warehouse too long and it's no good. We actually had an incident over in Waterbury where we went to use some tape and it had sat in the warehouse too long and we weren't able to use it. Flexus, again, they say that in 2015 the global cost of overstocking goods was $470 billion, which is just a crazy stat. Our next ramification is truck location confusion. So truck location confusion meaning we know which trucks are going to the job site, but we don't know when they get there, who's driving them, how fast they're going. And so the current system we use does not allow for this. And Ray Gaspard Jr., he's actually an expert in this. He's the safety director at Protected Cargo Transport. He says that, how often does your commercial truck require roadside assistance per year? He says, I'd say roughly 3 to 10 times per year. This is an issue because if there's an emergency, a breakdown, we would never be able to know about it because we don't have a tracking system currently. And so that also creates safety issues, which is coming right up. Employee-family communication is huge. I've heard it happen where a relative or a family member needs to get a hold of an employee, and because we don't have this tracking communication system, they're unable to know where they're at. We live in rural Vermont. A lot of the time, we're not able to have service and get a hold of our loved ones, so it's just really important to have a system where we're able to get a hold of someone at all times. Actually, Bob Boyd, he's the president and CEO of Agility Recovery. He's actually the expert in emergency communication in the workplace. He says not having a strategy for how you're going to communicate during a disaster event is a fundamental weakness. It's just also another safety concern. And then we have employee accountability. No one really ever likes to expect this out of their employees, and there obviously is mostly honest people, but every now and then you get a dishonest employee, and this creates a huge issue without having a vehicle tracker. Honestly, I've personally heard of someone where they're supposed to be going to a job site and they go off and do their own business or something on company time. That just creates a huge issue and ultimately it loses money for the company. Security Magazine, they say that U.S. businesses are affected by employee theft loss an average of 1.13 million in 2016. Just a shocking stat and something that should never happen. Then we have employee safety. Employee safety meaning you got to know where your employees are at all times. And again, it goes back to if something happens on the roadside, you got to know what happened. If there's an accident where the employee is not able to contact the employer, that's just something we need to know. And their current system does not offer that ability. USA Fleet Solutions, they say that in U.S., traffic crashes cost employers $47.4 billion in direct crash-related expenses, including medical care, liability, productivity losses, and property damage. So here's the project description. The product is a electronic inventory and vehicle tracking system. This will you'll have some tablets around the warehouse, and for the office, the managers, there'll be some software on the computers. This it's just super crucial, and it's a really neat system. It'll be able to show inventory levels and truck location. That's just right around the clock. There'll be automated ordering, meaning if we get low on a product, you can set it. If you have a product that you order all the time, you can set it in the system where the software will order it right away. And we'll get further into it. So as far as inventory organization goes, the system is great. So how it works is that the employee will come in for the morning, they'll go in and grab the work order, which will show everything they need, and they will go into the warehouse, grab it, and go to the tablet and check out everything they grabbed. They'll then check out the truck they're using and who's riding in it, where they're going, and load it up for the day. And when they come back at night after the job, anything they brought back, check it back into the warehouse and check the truck back in. Just keeps a constant tally of what inventory is in stock, what's being used. And another thing that it has the ability to do is see upcoming jobs, what it needs for inventory, what we need to order, and it'll give a heads up to management about anything that needs to be ordered. As far as vehicle organization goes, like I said, check the vehicle in, check it out at the end of the day. There'll be a running list of what vehicles are in use, what are not. Be able to check out which vehicles are damaged, broken, not in use. And the other thing we'll be able to do is track speed, who's driving, if there's an accident, anything going on in the vehicle. Can even go right down to if they're wearing their seatbelt. And so it'll give a heads up to management if speed limit is excessed too often, or if there's no seatbelt and a crash, really anything like that. It's a really safe system. Here's an example of how it will work. So this is the wall-mounted tablet. I chose the iPad Pro 12.9 inch. It's just a really good choice. There'll be two of those mounted in the warehouse, one on each side, so be really accessible to all the employees. Won't forget about it. And with the wall-mounted tablet, the employee would be able to punch in a code, so we know who's accessing the tablets each and every day. This is an example of the interface of the system. This is the Oracle NetSuite system. It's just a really slick system. It's pretty easy to use, and it's really nifty. So is it effective? Is the project effective? Human error. It just cuts out all human error. With the current system, it's a guy behind the system, obviously, who goes down and looks at what we have for inventory and orders. Obviously he's really good at it, but you can miss a lot. The computer, you can't miss anything. You log in all your inventory, what's being checked out, what's used, what we still have, and it really cuts back on all of those ramifications that were mentioned earlier. And accessibility for the inventory, there's constant live updates on all the inventory. So if management sees a big job coming up, check the inventory instantly. There's no walking down to the warehouse. There's no mistakes where something was placed in a weird spot. There's none of that. It's just right at your fingertips. It's simple. So as far as the tablets go, I know we have a lot of older folks working, and it's really important that they can use the system too. And so it's a really simple system. And I'm not saying anything against older people, but just someone who's not computerly active and not really good with a computer can even use this system. It's instant, like I mentioned earlier. Everything's instant, right on the computer, updates constantly. It's perfect for what we need. And then the accessibility for the vehicles, that goes right along with instant. Can see the speed, who's driving the vehicle, the location of the vehicle. It's a pretty sweet system. Here's the budget for it. So the software itself is $9.99 a month. Pretty reasonable price for the amount of use we'll get out of it. The representative, to have a trainer come in actually and show us the roles, $2,500 estimated. And that involves the trainer coming in, teaching us, having a training session, everyone coming in, learning how to use the system, and then any further questions, IT, information, anything we need. $2,000 for the hardware costs. That's the tablets. So that's the iPad Pro 12.9 inch. There'll be 2 of those. They're $1,000 each. Other costs, the wiring, surge protectors, and stuff is estimated at $50. There's not really that much wiring that needs to be changed. Maybe the cases that hold the iPads in place. Not really too much. And then the project manager, this is the biggest one. For this whole project to happen, there's going to need to be one guy who sets aside his job to just really focus on the duties of this job. And that's setting up the meeting, setting up the trainer to come in, making sure everything follows through as planned. And that also consists of an evaluation in the fall, which will consist of a survey going out and seeing if the employees are really liking the system. And then training time for staff, estimated at 10,000. I mean, we have a lot of employees, and obviously for some, training's going to take a little bit longer than others. And so that's estimated at 10,000. And an indirect rate, just anything that you can't see coming, 2,000. Really a pretty small price. So the whole thing is $42,549, which it seems like a lot, but in the scheme of things, it'll save us a lot of money in the long run with overstocking, product loss, even theft, which we don't assume will happen, but you never know. So to conclude, overall, there'll be yet less yard time. I know yard time was a huge thing last year, at least, and yard time just hanging out, pulling stuff out, looking for stuff. That's a huge one. It goes along with that, more job time. If you're not at the yard, you better be at the job. And our vehicle tracking system makes sure you're at the job. There's no going around it. And obviously, more time at the job means more work done, which ultimately means more money. And so with our whole system, more money is just everything it's all about, So more money with the inventory. There's no inventory loss, no money lost there. So just more money all over, which is really the goal of business. Here are some references for I got the information in the photos. And any questions that you might have? Let's go. How long is it?
Great job.